everybody. Welcome back to Dustin's Vinyl. Very exciting to see you guys again. This is a new crowd and a new network, and we're excited to be on Twitch TV on Comedy Hub. Comedy Hub has picked up our show, and we're excited to be a part of the family. And it's very cool. A lot of you put your video game down and learn about some music, a little thing called vinyl records. I know a lot of you guys are all about the high-tech stuff. This is a show where we feature vinyl records because I feel vinyl is the best medium to listen to music. Has a beautiful sound to it, and it's also just a great thing to collect. I know a lot of you collect comic books and, different things, and, records are really cool to just kind of seek out different bands that you like as your childhood or new bands or whatnot. I spent a lot of time in record stores and all over the world, and nothing better than sifting through a few records and finding good stuff. Now you got to like sanitize and then look again and that kind of thing, but it's still worth doing it. So wear your mask and get to a record store. We like to top off the show at the beginning. We like to do a random pull, which is just something we kind of pull randomly, and nobody really knows what I'm pulling. And then we talk a little bit about it. And that's how we start the show here on Dustin's Vinyl. And I got a cool co-host coming in, and it's a lot of fun. Look at this. It is Christmas time. December is there's going to be a lot of Christmas albums, and I'm a dork when it comes to Christmas. I know I'm a rock and roll guy, but through and through, I'm a dork, and I love Christmas. And even if you don't celebrate Christmas, you probably appreciate a good Christmas song. And this is one of my favorite dudes of all time, the mountain man, the hippie of hippies, the coolest dude ever, Mr. John Denver. He had a few Christmas albums. This is one of the best that he ever did, because featuring the one and only The Muppets. And I think last week we talked about Rush and Neil Peart, who's the greatest drummer of all time. And I think the second drummer would probably be Animal from The Muppet Show. So this is, I love The Muppets, and I'm a dork for The Muppets. And this is a great Christmas album. And it's kind of reminds me of my childhood. The Muppet Show was kind of how I learned about comedy and timing, and it had all these big comedy stars on it and stuff. Everybody from just Don Rickles to, Sylvester Stallone. And it was a lot of fun just kind of with the Muppets. And so they made a few albums, and this is one that they collaborated with Mr. John Denver. And it's got a lot of great hits on it. It's got 20 Days of Christmas, Silent Night, Holy Night. And, and it still has a great John Denver sound to it, even though it's Muppets and children kind of centric or whatnot. It's still John Denver, who's a great musician, and had a lot of great hits and a lot of stuff. Did a lot for music in general, actually. Like him and Dee Snider were the two people that kind of teamed up against censorship, against Tipper Gore and all that problems we had in the 80s over parental guidance and all that stuff. And so he's actually a gem, Mr. John Denver. He passed away several years ago in a glider plane accident, unfortunately. But he made some great music, and this is a really cool album. It's one of those weird albums. And nobody's gonna hate on you if you pull out a John Denver Muppet album. So if you want to get the party going, this is definitely a Christmas party. This is definitely the album to pull out. So get you some John Denver. I like to do the open, we got the Christmas cards, and he's got him playing the piano and all kinds of stuff. And it's just cool, man. It's just, you can't go wrong, man. It's like the Muppets, and, great folk singer, Mr. John Denver. So that's the pull of the day, the random pull. So make sure you get some John Denver in your life, and the Muppets. You can't go wrong with Kermit singing, man. Kermit's got a great voice, very underrated singer. And so I'm going to bring in your co-host of the show for Dustin's Vinyl, one of my good friends in the comedy world. Give it up for Jeffrey Paul, my co-host. Can we get him in there? There he is. All right. It happens. Technology is a hell of a thing. What's up, buddy?
How was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. It was, I'm in the country. So it was, and it's funny because my in-laws, man, they go hard into Christmas. So as soon as Thanksgiving's over, it's all Christmas music. It's all Christmas movies. And so that's kind of why I pulled this today, because we just been listening to Christmas music nonstop since Thanksgiving. But it was nice. Everybody's healthy. How was yours? You good? Everybody healthy?
Yeah, it was good, man. We kept it. We kept it, I think, at exactly 10 people. We were in Brooklyn. Yeah. My sister-in-law made a great turkey. Everything was great. I love John Denver, man. I think he is one of the most underrated. He has Colorado Rocky Mountain High. That's right. That song to me never got old. Take Me Home, Country Roads never got old.
Thank God I'm a country boy. That's a good
one. You know, all that, you know, Sunshine of My Soldiers, Annie's song, all those songs. I mean, you're right. Such an underrated performer. And when you get you team him up with the Muppets.
I love the Muppets. Do you like the Muppets? You seem like you're against fun. Used to be a cop, so you like hate fun. Come on, man. It's the Muppets. How can you not like the Muppets?
Yeah, they're okay.
They're okay. Come on, man. You've never heard Kermit's Rainbow song. Come on, man.
Oh, the Rainbow Connection?
He's on a bicycle and he's singing from his little frog heart.
Yeah, no, I love it. I'm not saying it.
Yeah. Well, what did you like as a kid? What were like your, Muppets, if you will? Howdy Doody? You're not that old. What was it?
No. You're killing me today. No, not Howdy. I mean, my little kid things was I was always a huge Bugs Bunny fan.
Okay. Bugs Bunny doesn't have a Christmas album, so he doesn't even compare. He doesn't even come close.
Well, you asked me what I liked as a kid. I mean, are we talking about Christmas?
Yeah, we're talking about Christmas. We're talking about collaborations. We're talking about Christmas music. Do you have, do you have an album? Do you like Christmas at all? Are you Grinch?
Yeah, no, I do. In fact, I would like to, in a couple of weeks, maybe just do a Christmas episode and pull out a Christmas album. I like the Phil Spector
we're doing right now.
Christmas album.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah. Probably one of my favorite all-time Christmas song is from Home Alone 2. I love the Darlene Love song. She's one of my favorite singers of all time also. But, No One Should Be Alone on Christmas. I think that's a phenomenal song. But
seriously, Animals drumming is phenomenal, dude.
It's good. They do a great version of a Christmas Carol.
That band is hilarious. You ever seen them? Like, they look like a blues band from the 70s. They're fantastic. Like, the whole band is great.
They played the second day on Woodstock 24.
Did they?
No.
And you love that word underrated, and they are definitely an underrated music band, the Muppets. But this is a fun album. I don't, I'm one of those guys that, I don't take it too serious. Like, I try to have fun with things, and I think the Muppets and John Denver is a fun album. And
you're a fun guy.
Kids, it's for fun people. Maybe not for everybody, but definitely at least you like John Denver, because I'd fight you over that. He's a legend, that one. I don't think he's underrated. I think he did well for himself.
I like I said, love the guy. Absolutely love John Denver. I think this is a weird segue though. Like, we're talking all nice and family oriented, the Muppets and how rated
That's the
G.
show. It should be weird. Yeah, it's good.
This is going to get weird because of the album that we're doing today. Absolutely.
That's why I pulled this one. I wanted a contrast.
Oh, you couldn't have pulled more of a contrast. Right.
So what do we got today, Jeff?
So today, man, I mean, I loved listening to this all week. It's the 50th anniversary of Black Sabbath's Black Sabbath, their debut album. Okay. This album came out in February of 1970, 50 years ago. Yeah, keep the album cover up. Let's start with the album cover. Let's just talk about one word is creepy.
Yeah,
that is
pretty
creepy album cover. Cover of a figure dressed in black, standing in front of a watermill. And of course, Dustin, the album has to be released on Friday the 13th.
Perfect. Great marketing. I think it was accidental, but they did good.
Yeah, I think so too. A couple of things about this album. One, did you know that it was recorded in one day and took 12 hours to record? Basically, on a small 4-track recording. They really did no overdubs. The only overdubs on this album were in NIB and The Sleeping Village. This is an album that almost never got made, and Sabbath was almost a band that never happened. Do you know the story about Tony Iommi and his fingers?
I do. Yeah, he had an accident at the factory and kind of cut his finger and had to make his own prosthetic little finger out of leather and like kind of created his own sound because of it.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. He was working in a steel mill and got the top part of his two middle fingers cut off. So right, he used a prosthetic. But the other thing that he did to help make that sound was when he, it was hard for him to squeeze down on the strings. So what he would do was he used a thicker string. He wound up restringing his guitar with bass strings, which gives it that dark, haunting sound. It gives it a heavy sound. And Sabbath sometimes gets the moniker of being the father of heavy metal, and I would say, yeah, maybe, but I also think they're kind of up there as being the godfather of grunge as well.
Well, they didn't like that title, heavy metal. They call themselves heavy rock. Like Ozzy fought against that, phrasing of the band. But it's funny. It was great listening to this album, and I hadn't heard it all the way through in a while. And it's like if you close your eyes and let's say you pull Ozzy out, it's like a Delta blues band. It's like if you pull out the kind of the goth element to it, and Ozzy's voice is not, it's just straight. It feels like straight blues. Like it has such a nice kind of raspy blues sound to it, and there's definitely some heavy rock elements that start to happen within the music itself. But the beginnings of a lot of songs are just really kind of, you could throw a harmonica in here at some point. That's how bluesy it feels to me.
On The Wizard is a harmonica. Yeah. And it's funny that, the two words you used, Delta blues and goth, because the album opens up as the most goth song you've ever heard and ends with one of the bluesiest track on the album, and just a straight up blues song. So let's get into the tracks. Let's start with also one other thing about this album. Today, it seems to take so long to produce albums, right? So they record the album in one day, and then they mix the album in one day.
That's phenomenal. Okay? It took Chinese Democracy like 7 years.
Probably longer than that. Yeah.
It's like this album they did in 12 days. It's phenomenal. But that's the thing. When you find a sound that works, you don't need to do all that overproducing. It worked. They found it, and it was just there.
Iommi said he just wanted to play their live set, and that was good enough, and that's how they recorded it. They played their live set.
Before you break down, let's bring in Adam. Adam is our producer and sidekick of the show. Adam, how do you feel about this album? Are you familiar with the Sabbath much? Are you a fan? What's going on? Talk to us. We like a younger perspective on this.
Right. This was actually the first time I heard this one. When I was listening to it the past couple of days. And, just like Rush 2112, it was, it was kind of a musical odyssey in a way. Nice. I mean, I know the album Paranoid, and, on that you have a lot more, you have more of the hits. It's more radio friendly. This one is, just front to back. You have to listen to the album as a whole.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a great experience.
Yeah.
All right, Jeff, what do you got, baby?
Well, let's start with the first track. The album is Black Sabbath. The name of the band is Black Sabbath. So the first track on the album is Black Sabbath.
Black Sabbath.
It's creepy. It's scary. And the song is inspired by bassist Geezer Butler. He was really into the occult, and one night he wakes up, in his bed. Now, he had decorated his whole house he painted the whole house black. He was really into Aleister Crowley. So one night he's sleeping, he wakes up and he sees this figure in black just looking at him when in bed. So the next day he goes and tells the band this story, and Ozzy is taking notes, and he pens the lyrics to the song. So the opening lyrics is really Geez's experience. The opening lyrics are, what is this that stands before me, figure in black, which points at me.
Which proves drugs were way better in the 60s. I think that's...
Yeah. I mean, listen, I don't know what he was on, but man, can you imagine how scary that must have been? I mean, this song is a scary song. It's slow, it's building. Can you picture, both of you guys, can you picture anyone else but Ozzy singing this song?
Well, I can see, people doing covers, 9 Inch Nails or Marilyn Manson. I can see people of that,
But when he
Caliber.
screams like, "Oh God, help me," I mean, it is like you could feel it, man. It is a really scary, scary song. The only thing that they did in post-production in this song was they added the rain at the beginning and the bells, the bell, which also makes it sound like it puts you in a different headspace.
Well, that's the thing is, like, I noticed too with a lot of these bands in the 60s and, a little bit in the 70s, it's like everybody experimented with, the sound effects. It was a lot of rain that was happening, thunder and different, it's interesting, I feel like Dark Side of the Moon kind of has all that stuff, all these like different sounds and stuff. And they were all kind of experimenting with that, and I feel the Beatles did a little bit of it as well. But I feel like that's, it was a different, kind of platform. People were just like kind of experimenting with different sounds and different things. So, Queen was doing that stuff, just kind of trying to find something different in the record itself and not just the regular produced stuff. You know what I mean? Trying to kind of pull you in, like you said, like a story kind of thing, Well,
that's what I think this is. This is a story. And then when you look at the tempo of the song, it's like a slow march. And Tony Iommi's sustaining those chords, like, and then that bell coming in and the rain sound effect. When you're listening to it in headphones, it really transports you into maybe what Geezer was feeling at the time. So it's so dark, and it's considered, I think, the first goth song ever recorded.
Really? Yeah, it's really great. Have you seen Sabbath live? Did you get to see them?
Did I see Sabbath? Yeah. Yes, I've seen them live on just about every incarnation they've ever had.
Okay.
I've seen them with Ozzy. I've seen them with Dio. I've seen him with Gillan. I've seen him with Tony Martin. Yeah, I've seen him with everybody.
I saw probably the 7th farewell tour. It's always like, we got a farewell tour, and then it's like there's like 20 more after that. It's such a good marketing play. I feel bands just use that to get everybody out to the shows. But this felt like it was going to be the last one, and it was the one when Iron Maiden was opening.
Iron Maiden?
Yeah, it was at the PNC Art Center. That's
an insane show.
Yeah, did you miss that?
That was my two favorite bands.
Yeah, it was fantastic. It was, and I'd never seen Maiden live, and I'd never seen Sabbath, and so it was quite a show, man. It was phenomenal, and they had it might have been an Ozfest, but Sabbath was headlining kind of thing. It was like that. I think that's what it was.
An Ozfest.
Yeah, it was an Ozfest. Like Rob Zombie was on the early stage or whatever. But it was great, man. It was definitely, but it was interesting because, I mean, talk about a band you don't want to follow. That's Iron Maiden. I mean, talk about a band you just don't want to be like, hey, you're next. Like I follow comics, like Lewis Black or Dave Chappelle, and it's like I'd much rather follow them than Iron Maiden. They got Eddie out there on his stilts. He's like, Bruce is the most amazing voice you've ever heard in your life. Like, it's phenomenal. It was like, but it was interesting how the momentum changed when Sabbath got on stage. It was late. They were, it had gotten dark, and it was just like there was just something about them.
And they always had the crosses.
Yeah, and it was like the stage show was great, and it was just like kind of this respect that just kind of came over the crowd, and this kind of the OGs of this kind of music, and yeah, and then it was like you forgot about Maiden like that. Not that they aren't amazing, but it was like it took about 3 chords, and you were like, okay, we're actually watching Sabbath, and this is fucking awesome. Like so I think it switched so quick.
War Pigs?
Yeah, I think that's what they opened with. Yeah.
Yeah, that was think about that too. Yeah. It's like the sirens going off, and Sabbath is coming on, and that's how. Oh, that's so good. So let's continue with this album, and let's get to the second song. And you mentioned harmonicas. This song opens with harmonicas. The song is also written by Geezer Butler, who was really into Lord of the Rings, and the song is called "The Wizard," and basically it's inspired by Gandalf. Ozzy starts by playing a harmonica, and then it gets into a really heavy riff. And, it's a good song. It's a song that got onto their greatest hit album, We Sold Our Souls for Rock and Roll, and it was a song that was always included in their sets.
Yeah, it's similar to Rush, in the sense of kind of, that kind of mystical thing and kind of going into, the Lord of the Rings or whatever. I feel like with that last album that we were talking about, 2112, where it has that kind of nerdy literature feel to it, and it's like, you almost want to sum this up as just some death metal devil band, but I think it's a lot deeper than that,
Yeah, they're a band where you have 4 individual talents. Ozzy is an amazing storyteller as a singer. I'm going to make a weird comparison here.
Please.
When he tells a story, he reminds me of kind of like Sinatra, the way he would tell a story, the way he would sing. Ozzy's telling a story, but his stories are always darker and weirder.
And you got to hear them like 3 times to understand them. But yeah, and subtitles are usually helpful.
But this is young. But this is young Ozzy, so you really kind of you're still able to hear him.
He's still a little. You still feel that Ozzy voice, though. He's still not as it has a distinctive thing that I think you have to get used to it. Even the young Ozzy.
I kind of like when you hear Ozzy here, it reminds me of like when we were listening to Rocky Horror and we heard how high that Meatloaf was singing compared to like later on, like in the Bat Out of Hell albums. When you hear Ozzy on this album, then when you hear him down the road on an album like Technical Ecstasy, it's a completely different Ozzy. And then when you hear him now, it's a completely different guy. Like kind of like Mick Jagger too. 60s Mick Jagger, today Mick Jagger, but you still love them because of who they are. But each member of the band sticks out on different songs. And on the third song, the member of the band that sticks out is the drummer. Because this is like the Bill Ward song. The song is called Behind the Walls of Sleep. And I think when you talk to Sabbath fans, they'll tell you this is really where they learn to embrace Bill Ward, because it starts with a drum solo, it closes with a drum solo, and Ozzy's voice in the song is very, very menacing. And then Iommi's playing, but the way it's recorded and mixed is his guitar is more in the background. Yeah. It's kind of like a bed, if you will. And the highlight of the song is Ward's drumming and Ozzy's vocals.
Yeah, no, it's a perfect album, and I think it's like, talk about it, there's a few bands that really crushed the first album, and I think this Sabbath album is one of those albums. Very few bands kind of come out of the gate. We talked about this a little bit before. I feel like I was listening to the Led Zeppelin album. I felt like kind of out of the gate they crushed it, but this is definitely
crushed it.
Yeah, it's great stuff, man. And then it just generates, and the thing is, it's like I was saying, it's like the OGs, like it's just spawned so many types of bands from just this one band, and it's just like, heavy metal in general and all these different kind of like the goth scene and 9 Inch Nails and all that stuff we're talking about before. You have to have people taking these chances, and it's like they were, taking these chances and doing this weird shit when nobody was doing it. It was like people Deep Purple, I think, came out with their album that year. But
there's a lot of occult on this album. Yeah. And the fourth song is definitely about the occult, NIB, which is, first of all, if Behind the Wall of Sleep is the Bill Ward song, then NIB is, again, the Geezer Butler song. Again, good bass solo to start, one of the great bass solos to start a song. He wrote the lyrics, and when this song, he's right. If Black Sabbath is about what happened to him, in whether it be a dream or it being under the influence, he's writing this song from the point of view of Lucifer. And when you hear the song, it's really the tale of the devil falling in love and kind of like changing. And
Adam, let me ask Adam quick. Adam, do you believe in the occult? Do you think that? How do you feel about the devil? The devil scares the shit out of me.
Right.
I grew up in Texas.
Probably say the same.
It's like, I feel like, in Texas, I don't know, I think I shared this story, but we had to burn our Kiss albums and stuff in a church parking lot. And, people just, it was like any Ozzy. I remember Ozzy was just, it was almost banned from my town. Anything that had to do with Black Sabbath or Ozzy or any of that stuff, it was just like, when I was coming up, it was all about that, devil music, and everybody's like, play the songs. Have you ever done that? Where you play the song backwards, play the record backwards and all that stuff?
No,
you never did that?
I never did it.
You never played the White Album backwards?
No, I never synced up Dark Side of the Moon and the Wizard of Oz. I never did any of that shit.
That's great.
He knows. He does the good drugs. He knows.
I told you what I did. Me and my friends, we'd get high, then we'd wrestle to decide who won to
You
2112.
You got high and wrestled. That doesn't sound as fun. I think I'd rather watch Wizard of Oz. How funny is it that Wizard of Oz is never mind. All right.
But you guys believe in the devil?
I do. I believe I'm like it's a weird thing. I believe in evil. How about that? And I believe like
what is that? What is that? What's
like
evil?
voodoo. Voodoo scares the shit out of me. Like, have you ever been down to like New Orleans and Louisiana?
Yeah.
Like, and just different. Have you been experienced around some of these people that kind of get into that stuff? It's like voodoo scares the shit out of me, man. I don't, some old lady with like one eye putting a spell on you. Like, I'm telling you, man.
They're creepy and a little scary. But I mean, but going back to, I mean, is there a devil? Is there a guy dressed like?
You believe he saw the black thing? I mean, it's like people.
I do believe that. I do believe he saw.
What's the difference between that and like somebody, doing a voodoo spell on you? Like, it's the same. It's the same.
I'm just asking if you know, I mean, with the devil. I mean, what do you think the devil is? What do you think he looks like?
Well, he's in the White House right now, actually. He's orange. He's got.
I thought you meant the guy moving in. Sorry.
No, he's the savior. He's the saint. I don't know. I think the devil. I don't think it's a person. I think it's a feeling, and I think bad people, could create this feeling, and I think I don't know. I just feel like there's a vibe that you can send out. I believe in the idea of what hell can be. I believe hell is here. I think it's like we all have our personal hell. I don't believe there's a
I believe
fire and brimstone and all that shit. I don't believe there's a guy with a tail and a pitchfork. But I believe
that's what I was getting at.
I believe in a devil energy. I believe in an evil energy. Like this, I won't fuck with a Ouija board. I
never have.
I have no interest in fucking with a Ouija board. Like, what about you, Adam? You ever done that? You ever played with a Ouija board? Yeah.
No interest.
Yeah.
It was like
and the thing is the devil, in movies, like The Exorcist still scares the bejesus out of me. Like that movie still holds up.
Best horror movie, a scary movie out there.
And it's the devil. The devil is the main. It's no Freddy Krueger. It's no Jason. Right. It's no Texas Chainsaw. Yeah, it's this spirit that feels like it could happen, and you feel like and I don't know. I've watched some of that stuff, possessions and documentaries, and I don't know. Some of the footage looks kind of real. I believe
it is real.
Yeah, people get possessed.
It absolutely is real. I spoke to a priest who he knew one of the priests where that movie was based on.
Okay.
And he 100% confirmed, a lot of that stuff that's portrayed in the movie was real.
Yeah, it's terrifying. And even when it's pea soup, you're still terrified. Like, even when you know all this stuff and she turns her head and things. So yeah, I think that's what's cool about, it's almost like a horror film. Like it's, that's what this album is. It scared us. And then at the same time, there's really good music attached to it. But it's almost like they took all the elements of all that stuff that was happening, because like Hitchcock and all that creepy Twilight Zone, we were talking last week about Rush, like in the Twilight Zone stuff. So I think there was a time where all that was kind of coming up and like scary movies were coming out and stuff. And so I don't know, it taps into all those things. And fear is kind of one of those things that we get off on,
Well, definitely in the lead track and this track. Now, a fun fact about NIB, a lot of people mistakenly think NIB stands for Nativity in Black. That's not true at all. Geezer writes the song and he doesn't know what to name it. And they used to make fun of Bill Ward and his beard, and they used to call it NIB. So he just said, fuck it, let's just call the thing NIB. And that was how the song got its title, but it doesn't mean Nativity in Black.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. But I definitely believe in this evil thing, and I think that's what kind of helps this whole cause, because kids want to rebel too against their parents, and I think during this time too, there's a lot of Christianity that was happening, and that's the thing when there's in Texas with me. I mean, I wasn't in the '60s, but it was definitely in the '70s and '80s. And it's like whenever there's this oppression of religion on top of you, you need something to balance it out. And that's what good, occult rock and roll will do for you. It gives you a place to rebel, to go against the parents. And that's, there's a great album for that.
Now we move. Yeah, now this is a short album too. It's only 7 songs and comes in at under 40 minutes. And so side 2 is only 3 songs. And the first song was actually on side 2 is was the first single, and the first time people ever heard Sabbath on the radio was this song, "Evil Woman," and it's not the ELO song. Okay, it's a cover of
It's a great song. Yeah,
yeah, it's a cover from a band here in the States from the '60s called Crow, and Crow was like a country rock band, and Sabbath didn't want to do this, but the label kind of like forced them to like do this song, and because it's cover, it'll be catchy. We could play it on the radio, and so this was the first single released. It's not that bad. It has a really '60s chorus, but when you listen to the album, I mean, if you're going to say once of these songs don't fit, I would say this is the song that doesn't fit.
Yeah, I was gonna go somewhere else actually. Hope you don't mind. Who do you think has a better voice, Ronnie James Dio or Ozzy for this band? Like, what do you?
It's like Roth and Hagar. They're two different bands with two.
Well, that one's
singers.
an easy for me, but
man, that's hard for me.
I think Dio has the better voice. I think Ronnie James Dio has the better kind of gothic, primal scream rock and roll voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, Dio.
I like Dio's solo stuff a lot, like Rainbow in the Dark and all that stuff.
But Dio as a pure singer is a better singer than Ozzy. But Dio, I mean, like the thing with Dio is he could sing the phone book and it still sound great.
How long was he with the band? How long was
two albums?
2 albums.
Heaven and Hell, and the second album. With Children of the Sea on it. The problem with Dio with the band was he was too into, and this is why a lot of Sabbath fans rejected him, because it was too much into like Dungeons and Dragons and fantasy and coming down and castle storming. And when you had Ozzy, it was darkness and the occult and paranoid.
These guys are all nerds. They really are. Like we Rush last week, they're nerds. Like, it's like these guys are nerds, like with Lord of the Rings references. Yeah, we try to make them like these badass rock stars, and they are, but they're really nerds deep down inside. I think that's where the dragons, and that's so funny. But I think Dio looks like the devil. I think he definitely looked more like a devilish creature. Like he had a kind of a devil face. I saw this thing with Dio. He was a doo-wop singer. Like he did doo-wop in the 50s. Like, kind of like.
Did you send me that?
Yeah. I think I might have sent you that. Yeah. He did like doo-wop stuff in the 50s. Like it's like this totally weird thing to see with a crew cut and everything. But I don't know. I think it's, it's also kind of cinematic too when the bands get back together. I think it's good that bands, take a break, try a new singer, and then somebody comes back. And I think, Sabbath, did they release a new album like when they came back together at all? I don't know. I don't know that much about them.
They did. Yes, they did. In fact, they had an album that came out just a couple of years ago with God Is Dead, which was a great song.
Okay.
Yeah, that was really good. You know that after Dio, the singer was Ian Gillan, the singer from Deep Purple.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
And that was called Alive. Evil Alive, something like that. It's the Purple album with the satanic head on it. But let's finish up side 2 here, because the second to last song is called Sleeping Village, and this is a combination, I think, of where you really hear how great the rhythm section is in Sabbath. Ward and Geezer, and it's only like a 3 minute and 46 second song. A lot of these songs are really short, but in a 3 minute and 46 second song, there are 3 different turns that the song takes. Like at the beginning, it's really beautiful, and as he's singing his heart out, and then at the 1 minute and 39 second mark, it changes and gets faster tempo, and the song then at the 2 minute and 5 minute mark turns into a jam band type of thing, and that's how it closes it out until the very end of the song. For about another minute or so, closes it out and then goes back to that beautiful the way it started. Okay. And then the last song is my favorite song on the album, is Warning. Everyone thinks it's called The Warning. It's just called Warning. And this song comes in at over 10 minutes. it's a lot of people don't realize that it's also an obscure remake of an Ainsley Dunsbar's solo project song. Ainsley Dunsbar, you may know from being one of the original drummers, I think was the original drummer in Journey. But he also played in Whitesnake. He played with Jeff Beck, just a legendary drummer. And when you said, Dustin, that you heard blues, this song is as bluesy as it gets. I mean, when I'm hearing him play, I'm thinking Alvin Lee. I'm hearing the guitar lead in, I'm hearing the guitar lead. I'm going home. I'd like to change the world. That screaming, great guitar. It's 10 minutes, but I swear to God, man, it does not feel like a 10-minute song. This song just flies by. And that's how it ends the album. You're like, oh, you got to be kidding me. You would love to hear more. This was a great way to end this album. Great songs. And the song Warning is about, have you ever met the wrong woman and you know that she's the wrong woman, but you still fuck up? And the line that really sells that is when he goes, I was, it was wrong when I met you, but my feelings were just a little bit too strong.
Yeah, redheaded stripper. Yep. My last ex, absolutely. I thought she was the one, and then she probably got me in a fist fight about every other bar we went to. If you had a woman like that, where you're just like, you're just smoking a cigarette, you're hanging out, next thing you know, you're in a fight with three guys. Like, how did this happen? And she's like, get him, he's a fighter, he'll fight you. And I'm like drunk, like having to fight three guys. She called one the N-word. It was a whole thing. But she was definitely the wrong one. But when it's, there's those girls, you keep coming back to the wrong woman. We've all been there. You have any crazy exes? Adam, you have any crazy exes?
I got to think about that.
Are they watching the show? Like what? I have like 100 of them.
Who is he, Adam?
Hey, don't make it weird. Don't make it weird. Don't be bullied by Jeff. Right. Next week it's Erasure. That's the band we're going to cover.
I love Erasure, by the way.
You would. You would. That would be your band.
Pick it out. I love Erasure.
Circus.
I've seen them probably as much as I've seen Sabbath.
Well, that's hilarious. I saw Erasure in Texas, and it was so funny because it was like what would happen in Texas is a lot of times like people would like bands like The Cure, they'd like bands like Erasure or Dead or Alive and stuff. And then I don't know if do you have that picture of me when that I sent you? I was going to tell you there was
let me pull it up.
Pull that up. Can you pull that up?
Let's see. There we go.
We saw Erasure, and it was so funny because you have to do the phone, you can't do the thing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's me with an eye patch. I went through an eye patch phase.
Are you fucking kidding? Who are you? The guy?
I was Adamant. I was Adamant. That was a huge influence. It was Adamant.
You look like the lead singer in Dead or Alive. Yeah,
that was it. That's what I just said. I was trying to get to that conversation.
You said Adamant.
It's all. Well, you didn't see the outfit. The outfit's Adamant. I got the ruffles, the whole thing. But the eye patch is definitely.
Pull it up. Can you make that bigger?
We'll get it next time. But that's we don't have the technology yet. We don't have the technology. It was the 80s. It was the 80s.
Is that how you dressed?
Yeah, it was the 80s. It was fun. We had a good time.
Okay.
You know how many chicks I got? I got the hottest chicks in school. Chicks loved it. They wanted because I didn't play football. You probably played football. I didn't play football, so you had to be the rock star, and that was it's like I was in a band. Right. Yeah, I played guitars, rhythm guitars. In the 80s? That's like 11th grade or something.
Okay, here's me in the 80s, Dustin.
All right, what do you got? What do you got? Can you pull yours up? We really got to work on this technology. Which one are you? Are you the one in the middle?
Yeah, that's the drummer of Twisted Sister, the guitar player in Twisted Sister.
Nice.
And that's me in the record store.
Oh, that's your record store, right? Oh, that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
What was the name of your record store?
1920. First Time Records.
First Time Records. Awesome. See, that's not so bad. You got the mullet kicking. I mean, you're not as costumey as me.
The porno stash.
Adam, you got any pictures? You got any embarrassing pictures you want to show us?
Oh, I got plenty. Just not around here.
So anyway, back to the Erasure thing.
I showed Adam this picture.
Did you? Okay, let me tell you a erasure story, and then I'll leave you alone. All right, so
okay, I got to show you something.
We all go to this erasure show, and like there's all these Texans, and they don't know what the band looks like because they weren't a big MTV band, and so they were kind of more of a radio band, and so everybody shows up, and then the guy comes out in a tutu, and like a lot of these Texans were not ready for that, and so it's just
was it the
singing
chorus?
Huh?
When he comes out in the big swan?
It was a long time ago. Yeah, I think so. He had a tutu.
I'm
just saying a lot of Texas boys.
Gay as it gets.
Yeah, well, and we love gay people here on the show. I mean, Jeff's a little homophobic, but the rest of us, we embrace who you are.
Dude, I went to go see Erasure. I went to go see Pet Shop Boys. I'm not homophobic.
Pet Shop Boys? That's
like
pretty
that
gay.
Shit. Again, seen the Pet Shop Boys multiple times.
Oh, we know you have. But yeah, but it was the 80s. I dressed like that. I didn't care. It was like Dead or Alive. And Dead or Alive, too, was like, he got a little.
You were wearing an eye patch.
I wore an eye patch to a Dead or Alive concert. How about that? That's why I don't care about the T-shirt rule that you have, that you can't wear the band's shirt to the band's concert, because I wore an eye patch to a show where a guy wore an eye patch. So I don't care. There's no rules in my world. You can think less of me. I don't care. It was the 80s. I rocked it out, man.
Well, listen,
my mom used to put eyeliner on one eye because I had the patch on the other. Like it was the 80s. We were weird. That's how we had fun. I wasn't doing drugs yet.
Adam, I like that's his excuse. It was the 80s.
Yeah, that's not the excuse. That's the excuse for everything. I did a lot of cocaine. It was the 80s. Nobody wore a condom. It was the 80s. Like that's all the excuses. Yeah. That's all the excuses. The 80s. That's the best part about that era. You can blame everything on it. That's right. It was the 80s. We had a good time. The shoulder pads. Remember those? 80.
Yeah, of course.
Your mullet.
All right, I'm gonna show you the most 80s picture. You ready for it?
Now we got to work on this. Next week we're gonna be able to pull these up, so they're not like on somebody's Polaroid.
This is the line. People were online, to get the band's autograph. Look at the guy in the shorts and look what he's got in his hand.
Is that you?
No, that's not me.
What does he have? I can't see it.
Look at this guy. He's a guy who was online waiting to get an autograph.
Oh,
and look at his shorts.
For Twisted Sister?
Yes.
Oh, okay. And he's just wearing shorts?
That's the
80s.
In the red.
Well, that's also Staten Island. You guys were a little weird too. Staten Island was kind of a different. Staten Island in the 80s. That's a whole nother.
You got the boom box.
That's a whole nother level.
You got the boom box?
Yeah.
That's 80s.
Okay. Like I said, I don't care. I'm not judging that guy in his purple bikini underwear. I mean, that's what look what Dee Snider was wearing. You know what I mean? Like he didn't give a shit. Look at that stuff he was wearing. He was like shredding up dresses, and it was fun. That was the thing. They were kind of like the thrash Kiss is what I like to call them. Kind of like Kiss, kind of got stuck in another level of weirdness. But I think Twisted Sister was a very good band. I think they would have gone down another route if the 80s hadn't happened. Like it's weird. I blame the 80s for sometimes certain bands that were very talented, but took kind of an MTV cheese lane instead of, because I don't know, like they opened for Motorhead and stuff. And like they could have gone down that road. Like their first album, You Can't Stop Rock and Roll, is a great kind of rock album. I feel Stay Hungry is their money album, but I feel it was, it was a little cheesy mantra, we're not going to take it, and I love all that stuff, but it's still, I don't know, I think it kind of like took a turn. I think they were too talented, and kind of got caught up in that money and stuff. That's what I think. The MTV fans and kids and stuff.
I agree. A lot of people think that Stay Hungry is their first album. It's not. You're right. It's Can't Stop Rock and Roll. And they played Staten Island every Tuesday night at this place called the Rock Palace. And I was in high school, and I remember I would sneak out of my house. Like I would tell my parents I was going to like a play rehearsal, or I was going to do something, and my friend would pick us up in his Gran Torino. My friend Dean Davey would pick us up in his Gran Torino, this big brown Gran Torino. We had 7 guys would pile in, and we'd go see Twisted Sister on a Tuesday night. And I would have my outside have my Twisted Sister shirt. I wore a Twisted Sister shirt at the Twisted Sister concert. I know.
See?
I broke my own rule. Yeah.
I don't think there's anybody listening to the show tonight, but if there is, here's the question. Is it okay to wear the band's T-shirt to the band's concert. Is that a rule that you should never do it, or are there exceptions?
Exceptions.
Let me know if there's anybody out there that.
All right, let's see what people say.
Can you wear the T-shirt to the band's concert? Is that a no, or is like, who gives a shit? Let's rock and roll.
Let's see. Mac Dave says, I'd say yes if you bought it there.
Oh, so he's the guy that takes off his shirt and puts on. That's the badass. No, I love that guy. That's the badass. No, he's wrong. That's Matt, dude.
I'm glad you're watching, but he's
I love
wrong.
This guy. I don't know. Let's stay with this guy. Yeah, I love that. Like, I've done that where you get there, you take off your stupid shirt, you take off, and then you put it in your back of your pocket, your back pocket, and then you put on the thing. Yeah, that's a true fan right there. Can you ask him what show he's done that at? Is there
see, Jay Dies a Lot says yes.
Which band?
So far that's all we got.
Did he take his shirt off?
There was this guy.
We have a picture of him with his shirt off. We'll put that on there. We like erasure on this show. We'll look at a dude with no shirt on. All right, what happened?
No, so this guy, Eric Pacta, who used to come with us to concerts. Like when we would go to concerts, there'd be like 7-8 of us would go. Yeah. And this guy, Eric Pacta with red hair, came with us. And he'd be the only guy that would, like, he always had to get his shirt, and he would take his shirt off immediately and put on the shirt of the band he was going to. And we always used to make fun of him about it. But I always think about Eric Pacta was that guy.
That's funny. You know what?
He
Sometimes you're going to be that guy.
Become a doctor.
You know what I did one time? I was in junior high, and this is
eye patch.
I did. No, this is junior high. I hadn't graduated to the eye patch. And I was supposed to go to the, I really wanted to go to the Dio concert. And everybody was just like, Dio's coming. You got to go to the concert, whatever. And I remember it was something like, I told everybody I was going. And I used to lie a lot when I was a junior high. And I was like, I was going to the concert. And I couldn't get tickets because my parents wouldn't let me go, whatever. So there was a kid going. And I told him, I said, dude, here's some money. I go, can you get me the T-shirt? Can you give me the T-shirt? And so this kid comes to class or whatever. I go in the bathroom and I put on the T-shirt, and then the whole day I acted like I was at the concert. It was the lamest thing ever. It was a great show, man. It had a rainbow and the rainbow in the dark and the smoke, and I just made up shit like a sociopath. So that it could be worse. That's the worst version, is the guy that does that, and I was that guy. So anyway.
Yeah, but you're a little kid. You get a pass. You try to impress
little kid. Nah, this is 15.
We'll give you a pass.
Had a driver's permit. There was no excuse. That's the way of the world. Isn't there any more?
Yeah, there's. We got a few more. It's wear what you want. So wear what you want. Just don't wear the band shirt they have a beef with.
Ah, interesting.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. Do we know of bands that have beefs? I know comedians that have beefs. I remember in the 80s, there's a concert where it's Sam Kinison, and him and Dice Clay hated each other. And then there's an actual concert show where Kinnison's on stage, and a guy comes up and he's wearing a Dice shirt, and he makes him take it off. He makes him take off the Dice shirt in the middle of the concert. It's the greatest thing. The guy just like rips it, and like takes it off, and he's like sitting there with his tits out, and it's like hilarious. Because Kinnison just hates.
There's a lot of band beefs.
Yeah, give me one. What do you got? Who's a beef?
Nirvana, Pearl Jam.
Nirvana, Guns N' Roses.
Right. The Nirvana, Guns N' Roses. That's what I was going to say.
That's because Axl is, when some of those lyrics too. I think that's the thing, is like, it's like the music was evolving, and grunge was kind of about accepting everybody, and metal kind of had a narrow kind of lane of the sexuality and stuff like that. So I think him and Axl kind of there's actually audio at the VMA Awards or something where they kind of get into it, and like Courtney Love is like yelling at Axl. It's a great find if you can hear it. Anything else, Adam?
Let's see. So Mac Dave says he wore the shirt to a Alice in Chains concert.
But was it an Alice in Chains shirt?
Yeah, Alice in Chains shirt. Yep.
No.
Yes.
You wear a Nirvana shirt.
Boo you, man.
I don't agree with these people.
See, but it's like our other producer Jay was saying. It's like a team. It's like team colors. You wear, you go to the Eagles game, you wear an Eagles jersey. You go to You go to Alice in Chains concert, you do some heroin. All right, guys. This has been a lot of fun. This is our first show. And one quick little, do we have any albums coming out, Adam? What do you have? Anything this week?
I'll try to run through them quick.
Okay,
we got reissue Run DMC, Raising Hell. We talked about a couple episodes ago.
We did.
There you go.
The White Stripes, Greatest Hits. It's a double LP, the first ever anthology, 20 songs, should be pretty good. Motley Crue, The End, live in Los Angeles, double LP plus DVD.
Oh, but that's great.
Their supposed last show ever, but they're touring again. So
they're another band.
Back in 2021.
They've had 14 farewell shows. Yeah.
We got Aerosmith, Rocks Donington 2014. That's from the Download Festival. And
nice.
It's a greatest hits set, so it should be pretty good. Arctic Monkeys, Royal Albert Hall, which is they were touring Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino. Great concept album. Let's see what else. Stevie Nicks, live in concert, 24 Karat Gold Tour.
Love Stevie.
Double LP.
Jeff doesn't like her. I like her.
And greatest hits for Survivor. Best of double LP. Yeah.
Is it like Eye the Tiger 6 times? Is it like 6 different versions of Eye the Tiger? Because I pretty much.
Yeah. Or The Search Is Over. It's another good one too.
That's a good one.
One time I remember the most gangster thing I've ever saw in my life was Manny Pacquiao. He was fighting. It was one of the big fights before he kind of got a little, when he started fighting too much. It was kind of one of the big, I think it was against Vasquez or one of those guys. I forget what it was, but it was one of those fights. And he was coming out. And as he was coming out, like he was, to the ring where they play music, he actually had the guy, the lead singer of Survivor, singing Eye of the Tiger as he was walking to the ring, like the actual guy, not just playing it on the speakers. Actually, the guy was walking in front of him going, Eye of the Tiger. And he was like leading him into the ring. I thought it was the most gangster thing I've ever seen in my life.
But Dustin, did you see Rocky the musical? Did you say you saw that?
I did. It was pretty bad, but it was fun to watch.
It was, but that guy singing Eye of the Tiger, that was pretty gay too.
Yeah. We support your decisions. Don't let Jeff Staten Island our show, okay? Because we love people, and music is all about accepting everybody. And if you want to wear an eye patch, and if you want to wear the concert shirt to the show, you be you. That's what we hear on Dustin's Vinyl. Thank you guys for being a part of the show. We're very excited to be a part of the Twitch family. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Jay, in the producing studio. And so get you this album. This is a great album. If you're not familiar with Black Sabbath, it's okay. There's a lot of music out there. We always miss stuff, but it's never too late to get some good music in your life. And this is the first Black Sabbath album. It is 50 years old, and it sounds like it was done yesterday. It's a great album. Check it out, everybody. Keep rocking Dustin's Vinyl. Thank you. Woo! Congratulations, guys. We did it. Twitch premiere.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.